Okay, thank you all for being here. This is the Early Learning Division's webinar for tribal nations on the new grant opportunities that are available for early learning. We have a lot that's going on, and it's very exciting. We're really hoping that all of you are able to participate and that we hear what any barriers to participation could be. So please know that we are open and available to hear that feedback as well as any other feedback. So my name is Lindsay Pearson. I am a program specialist with the Early Learning Division, focusing mainly on Oregon Prekindergarten and Prenatal to 3, but working very closely with the other folks here on the screen. So I'm going to pass it over to Dana.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dana Young, and I am the Preschool Promise Program Manager. So I oversee anything that has to do with Preschool Promise and do a lot of collaboration with OPK and our other publicly funded programs as well. So welcome.
Hi, and I'm Kimberly. I am the Early Childhood Equity Fund Manager, and so I just came on board a month ago, and I'm totally excited to be here to fund.
Wonderful. That's great. We're very happy to have you. And then, like I said, the other person from the Early Learning Division that is on is our lovely Kelly Taylor. Kelly, would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hello, my name is Kelly Taylor. I am going to be here taking notes for you all. And then just a little reminder that if you are not talking, please go ahead and mute yourself so we can go ahead and keep that background noise out. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Thank you for that reminder. I am going to share my screen with you all and show you this presentation that we've got planned. Here we go. Let me see if I can get this settled. Please bear with me. I am not the most technologically savvy of the folks on our team, so please have patience with me. Okay, here we are. The Oregon Early Learning Division grant opportunities. We have 4 grant opportunities that are available to you. The 2019 Oregon Legislature passed the Student Success Act, which creates an early learning account. I'm going to try and hide this. I'm sorry about that, you guys. An early learning account to fund investments focused on reducing educational disparities and increasing access for children under the age 5, meaning beginning prenatal, and their families. There are 4 different grant opportunities available through the early learning account. These are Oregon Prekindergarten and the new OPK Prenatal to 3, Oregon Prenatal to 3, which is Oregon's new early Head Start, and then Preschool Promise, the Early Childhood Equity Fund, and our Preschool Promise fiscal agent. So I'm going to start with talking about Oregon Prekindergarten, Prekindergarten and Prenatal to 3, and then I'm going to let Dana speak to Preschool Promise, and we'll let Kimberly speak to the Equity Fund, and then Dana will again speak to the fiscal agent. So I am unable to see the chat box, so if someone would alert me if there are questions coming up there and I need to pause, please let me know. So Oregon Prekindergarten, I know that a lot of you are very familiar with Head Start. 5 of the 9 tribes in Oregon have federal Head Start grants, and these opportunities are available to you. So the Oregon Prekindergarten is modeled after federal Head Start program and adheres to all of the federal Head Start program performance standards, as well as the Head Start Act. And these programs serve the most vulnerable children to succeed. I'm sorry. I told you to be patient with me. I appreciate it. So OPK serves the most vulnerable children to succeed in school and live beyond school. To achieve these Head Start programs deliver services to children birth to age 5 and their families in core areas of early learning, health, and family well-being. OPK and prenatal to 3 will serve families at 130% of the federal poverty level and below with educational and wraparound services. House Bill 2025 made OPK Oregon Prekindergarten open for prenatal to 3. So that's a change for this year. We have actually Grand Ronde is the only tribe that has had early Head Start slots through the early learning division in the past. And so this is the first opportunity that we have to open that to all of you. So and the Student Success Act now provides opportunities for extended day services for preschool age children and includes requirements for lead and teacher assistant salaries and financial support for transportation. The grant opportunity is that new Oregon Prekindergarten applicants may apply for the following extended duration slots serving 3 and 4-year-olds, Oregon Prekindergarten slots, which are half day or prenatal to 3 slots, early Head Start slots, not early Head Start, but prenatal to 3, and then part day Oregon Prekindergarten slots serving 3 and 4-year-olds. The new enhancement dollars that are allocated to OPK from the Student Success Act and the Early Learning Account include raising teacher salaries and assistant teacher salaries to the extent practicable to be in sync with kindergarten teacher salaries, and providing transportation funding to support and then also to support other retention efforts for other program staff. And these are available to Region 11 American Indian Alaska Native Head Start grantees. The program expectations, as somewhat stated, all Oregon applicants, Oregon Prekindergarten program applicants must meet Head Start performance standards and the Oregon Prekindergarten deliverables and expectations. And those applicants must also meet the legislative mandate of teacher salaries to the extent practicable following the Early Learning Council's adopted salary guidelines. All of this information is in the current OPK RFA, which is on our website, and we can provide links to all of these grant opportunities. Because we align with Head Start and the Head Start, we work very closely. We are planning to make the specific considerations that they are making for American Indian Alaska Native applicants and tribal programs. We do know that some of them are subject to availability of funds and will be mostly included in our grant agreements. But I wanted to give an example of a consideration that would be honored, which is a tribal program may propose a service area that includes areas where members of Indian tribes or those eligible for such membership reside, including but not limited to Indian reservation land, areas designated near reservation by Bureau of Indian Affairs, and designated statistical areas where federally recognized Indian tribes do not have an established reservation. And so programs who would be operating off of a reservation would be able to serve children who are tribal children, as well as children who do not identify with a specific tribe. So those were the considerations. There are many more that will be worked out in grant agreements, but I wanted to ensure that folks who are used to having similar considerations with their federal grants, that we would be hoping to honor at least as many of those considerations as we can with OPK. And now it is to Preschool Promise. It's for Dana.
Alrighty, awesome. Well, welcome everybody and good afternoon. So we're just going to go through each of the programs and grant opportunities individually, and then we'll go ahead and open it up to Q&A. We want to make sure that any questions that you have as you are contemplating, applying, or you're already working in your application, that we want to go ahead and be available to you and provide that technical assistance that you need. With Preschool Promise, so we launched in September of 2016, and we started with only 1,300 Preschool Promise slots across 9 different regions across the state. Now, in this next wave of implementation, we're looking to go ahead and increase our expansion and looking to serve 3,865 children across the state through publicly funded program. We go up to the 200% poverty level. So what I always said is that what makes Preschool Promise really unique is that we are able to go ahead and go above the 100% poverty level, which some of the publicly funded programs are kind of at that cap, or maybe they can go up to the 130%. We can go up to the 200%, so we are able to go ahead and help families so they're not up there and they're not down here, they're just needing a little bit of help. So that has been a lot of great feedback that we've received over the past couple of years from families that they're able to continue going to school. They're not scared about getting that extra bonus or extra hourly wage. They can still go ahead and participate in Preschool Promise. So this is for children 3 and 4 eligible to kindergarten. So we still have some 5-year-olds in our program who, because of the cutoff date, as long as they're not age eligible for kindergarten, they can participate in our Preschool Promise program. Children are eligible. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I'm not sure if it's my phone. Okay, right there. Maybe it was my phone. Children are eligible for 2 years. So in the family doesn't have to reapply. So it's kind of once you're in, you're in. So that's been a lot of the feedback that we've been getting as far as like families not having to reapply or not scared about getting that promotion or something at work. They can still, they're still eligible for Preschool Promise. If we mix delivery, so you're going to find Preschool Promise in many different settings. You're talking in-home center, school districts, home-based, OPK programs. We're really trying to go ahead and focus on giving families that choice, so where they want to find a high-quality preschool experience for their kiddos. If we want to go to the next. So currently, one of the big goals that we have, aside from our big expansion that we want to be able to expand across the state, is that currently we only have 35 Preschool Promise slots in, in tribal nations kind of partners, whether they're on OPK or they're only providing Preschool Promise. We are wanting to go ahead and expand that to 150 to 250 slots. So that is one thing that we're looking to go ahead and do, is just being able to provide that expansion. The grant opportunity is $12,000 per slot. There is an enhancement of $375 if the site provides transportation for all the children. So we have that available. So just kind of, something for you to go ahead and keep in mind, as we move forward with Preschool Promise. But definitely we want to be able to increase the number of slots with our tribal partners. Okay, you want to go to the next slide? Some of our expectations, our Preschool Promise providers do have some quality requirements that they have to meet. We are going into this transition with Preschool Promise and the way that we do our contracting. All of the program expectations and a lot of the technical support, you'll find it in the RFA. And as you read it, I am available to go ahead and, send me an email. We can have a little chat. I think the main thing, I want to address is providers are expected to provide no less than 5 hours a day, no less than 4 days a week, and no less than 900 annual hours. We have providers that offer more than the 900, and that is up to them, but it's no less than 900. We decided to add a no less than 4 in case a program wants to go ahead and use that extra day for professional development and prepping and all of that. So that was a change this year. Then we added the no less than 5 hours, no less than 4 days a week. And then as far as our implementation here, it is switching a little bit. You know what, let me go ahead and change my audio to the computer. I'm not sure if it's my phone giving this feedback. So just a moment here.
Okay, can people hear me? Yes? Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I think it was my phone. My apologies on that. I was wondering what was making that noise. So one big change with Preschool Promise this next program year is that now Whereas our previous implementation, we were going through our early learning hubs who have done, you know, a great job in community, partnering and everything. We decided to go to move our contracting to be more aligned with some of our other programming, so going direct contract with providers. So we've done a lot of great work over the past month. So, you know, ensuring that we reduce any barriers for entities, especially some of the small businesses, to be able to apply directly with the state. So lots of TA provided on that. But what does that mean? You know, a lot of providers, especially current Preschool Promise providers, have asked, like, how does this contract look with the state? Who's going to help me with a lot of those, you know, great services that we were getting before? When it comes to our funding, all of the funding that we receive for this expansion, we're wanting to go ahead and give that directly to that provider and provide that. So unlike the previous legislation, we will get the funding and it would allow us to go ahead and give, you know, just, you know, some fund for coordination, some funds for like continuous quality improvement. Like what we decided to do is grab all of our funding and give it directly to Preschool Promise providers. But we're able to go ahead and get some funding to continue to support the great work. So one of the, I call it one bucket of funding will be is what we're going to go ahead and use with our CCRNRs for some new positions to each CCRNR across the state to continue to provide that continuous quality improvement to our providers. So we are thinking of adding a Preschool Promise coach and a Preschool Promise specialist at each of the CCRNRs to provide providers with inclusionary practices, coaching, support, family engagement. So anything that our providers may need, it will become directly from the CCRNRs. People have asked, like, do I have to pay for that as a provider in this next implementation? And the answer is no. That is part of you being able to go ahead and get that from the CCRNRs. And then we have our hubs who are being given some fund to go ahead and do coordinated enrollment and really just working in their community to support publicly funded programs to ensure that they're full and everything goes. With this expansion of Preschool Promise, they are going to be helping Preschool Promise providers with recruitment, eligibility, selection, and placement for the families and really helping that family navigate through those services and community. And I'll talk a little bit more about what does that mean if you are, you know, for tribal nations and how is that going to work. So just pause on that one. And then here, the Early Learning Division, we are going to do many TA and support for our Preschool Promise providers. We have a grants team that's going to be providing a lot of just grant management and technical assistance, ensure our providers get paid, any kind of data collection we do by legislation. We have to go ahead and get our data submitted, which children are we providing service and so on. So, and then that, you know, monitoring, oversight, and technical assistance. So this is, you know, as you think about this, if you are a current Preschool Promise provider or people ask, like, what are some of that provider supports? This is what it looks like. We're going to have support at the CCRNRs, at the hubs, and here at the Early Learning Division to go ahead and be successful. Okay, and if we want to go to the next slide. So one of the things that we're going to go ahead and do, as I mentioned, the hubs are going to do the coordinated enrollment. So what that really looks like is the 4 buckets. You have recruitment and outreach, election and placement. But over the past couple months, we heard, like, what does that mean for tribal partners? What does it mean to OPK partners, to OPK providers that have been doing, they follow URSA models and what's going to do? So what we decided to do to go ahead and like provide clarity and just really be flexible with that is that tribal entities have a choice. Tribal, what I call Preschool Promise providers. So you get to decide whether you want that full suite of service for the hub or you just want to go ahead and do that internally. It was really important for us to go ahead and be mindful and respectful of that. So you get to choose whether you want the hubs to go ahead and help you with eligibility, selection, and placement, or do you want to just go ahead and do that internally for yourself, obviously with lots of support from the ELD and lots of support from your hub? The hub is still going to go ahead and is expected and to go ahead and help all providers with recruitment and outreach, but we felt that the other three buckets of the other three services, the eligibility, selection, and placement, that for OPK, they're going to go ahead and do that for themselves. They're going to continue if they want, they need help. Once again, we're going to provide them. And then for tribal preschool promise size, that you get to decide whether you want the full suite of services or not, and they will go ahead and give you support on that. So just giving you, I think there was a question on the chat box on this. Okay, perfect. Angie, does that answer the question about the concern with coordinated enrollment?
Yes, thank you, Dana. I heard you say that you were going to go more into, so I appreciate that. I think that is, everybody's kind of holding their breath waiting for that answer, so I'm glad you just got that out of the way. Thank you.
Yeah, we just go for, just get it all clear. So all of our preschool promise sites, they will be given a choice, and we want it to be a choice because in some areas they may want to, do that and have that do that. So for whatever reason, we want to be flexible and mindful of that. So you get to have a choice if you need that service. There's a lot. I mean, I am a talker, and we can spend hours and hours on preschool promise. We have a pretty long FAQ document in our website. So I posted the link here. I think we're up to like 94 Q&A questions as far as what is the funding, do I have to do TA school, do I have to this? So please do review that because it provides a lot of TA. It is a pretty lengthy document. I can tell you that whenever people call me for TA on the Preschool Promise application, that's the first document I go to ensure that our message is in sync. So a quick little control find, and you can find that, but please do follow the document, and please don't hesitate to go ahead and reach out to me. But I think this gives you a pretty short and sweet things on how Preschool Promise is going to be. Lots of support for our providers. We want to work collaborative, and I think with with our division wanting to do direct contracting, it puts, it really, and it puts a lot of pressure on us to ensure that our processes are equitable and that we are reducing barriers for entities. So please go ahead and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so hand it over to equity now.
Great. And also the Preschool Promise, or the FAQs for all of these applications are on the Early Learning Division website. So the Equity Fund, the Fiscal Agent, the Preschool Promise, and OPK are all there. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Kim now.
All right, my turn to talk about the Equity Fund. So like I said, I am new to the Early Learning Division. I just came on board a month today, so I'm excited to see all the people that are here attending this. And so I'm hoping in the future to get to see you all in person. I'm a people person, and so the screen is very hard for me right now, but it's what I'll do for now. So a little bit about the Equity Fund. So basically, slide one. The Equity Fund, it aims to close the opportunity gaps for the children and the families who are experiencing systemic, disparities, because of any combinations of factors, as you can see, from race to income to zip codes, etc. And through the funding of the culturally specific organizations that are committed to providing early learning services that are rooted in their culture, their home language, and lived experiences. I want to talk a little bit about the intent and the vision of the Equity Fund. The intent and the vision is, one, to expand access to culturally specific early learning opportunities statewide. We know geographically the different communities have different needs, different wants, they experience different things, and so we want it to be available statewide. Secondly, bringing more culturally specific providers to the early learning system. We want it to be more equitable, more diverse, more inclusive. We want to hear your stories. We want to hear what you're going through. We want to hear your successes. what you guys are experiencing. And so we wanted just to be more inclusive in our state of Oregon. And so this is a great opportunity for us to do so. And thirdly, it's another way for us to make sure that we're connecting with every child and family that we can, regardless of their race and their income and their geographical location, and that they too will have the opportunity to thrive like other children. And so those were the intent and the vision of starting the equity fund. And so hopefully that we'll be able to achieve those. Next slide, please. Now, the Early Learning Division plans to award up to $10 million in grants for the Equity Fund, and the funds are the funds are available with these types of programs. You know, the parenting education programs, the parent-child interaction programs, and the kindergarten transition programs. And then the tribal language preservation and revitalizations can be embedded within those 3 programs. And so just to go a little bit more in depth with them, the parenting education programs focuses on enhancing parenting practices and behaviors, such as developing and enhancing positive parenting techniques, learning child age-appropriate child development skills and milestones, promoting positive play interactions between parents and child, and basically locating and accessing community services and supports that are needed. You know, for the parent-child interactions, those are programs that serve both the child and the parent together in order to support positive parent-child interactions. You know, we want to promote, we want the result of having healthy attachment and bonding and child development between the parent and the child. And so those are the parent-child programs that we're seeking for. And then for the kindergarten transitions, these are targeted programs that will help prepare children and families and the school system for the transition between the early childhood period into kindergarten. Now, these programs will provide the children and families the opportunities to get familiar with kindergarten routines and expectations, and also will help the school be prepared to better serve these children, especially the community in which we're serving. And so for the tribal language preservation and revitalization, now these are early childhood programs that will integrate efforts to preserve, revitalize, and restore and maintain the tribal language through one of the previously one I just stated, like the parenting education program or the parent-child interaction program or the kindergarten transition program. And so this could be embedded within any of those, and could be with any partnership with any early care and education programs or any public school entities already. And so just know that there's those different types of programs that we're seeking for, and so those are the different opportunities. So when applying for the grants, you know, you can click on either one or click on all 3 or whichever one that you're specifically looking for grants in. Next slide. And then there's also the planning grant opportunity. This one, I don't hear much people talk about this one, but I think this is a great one. It's a the planning grant is designed to really help an organization get started. You know, for example, if you're an organization, an agency that says, you know what, I really need resources as in outreach, as in recruitment, as in how can I get this started, this is what the planning grant is for. Okay, so planning grants are a one-time grant that provides resources for outreach, engagement with families and communities, and anything like that in order to start the services. One thing I will note that planning grants can convert to program grants after the first year. So just know that it's a one-time grant that's going to help you, you know, with your outreach, with finding staff, with engagement, with recruitment and all that in order for you to start. So just understand that there's 2 grants within the equity fund that you can apply for. And just remember that the program grants are designed to deliver culturally specific programs, and that the planning grants are designed to help the organization build the capacity to deliver the early learning programs. And so just know that, you know, you can apply for more than one you can apply for more than one. And so definitely, I took a look at the agencies that have submitted applications. Definitely submit. Some are in the process, but definitely for the ones that are looking at this, definitely take a look at the opportunities that there are with the equity fund. Next slide. For the program expectations, This is a snippet of the program expectations. It's obviously not elaborate. It's basically the, how do I say it, the backbone, you know, and so as we know, the Early Childhood Equity Fund is new, and so we are keeping things broad because we know there's no cookie cutter mold as to how a program should be with the different communities that we all serve, and so we want to keep it broad so that we want you to tell us what you're going to do. We don't want to tell you what to do. We want you to tell us and propose to us what you want to do. That way we can then, you know, look, engage, and see if we could really help in that. And so as you can see from the tasks and the activities and the schedules, it tells you, it outlines what we are expecting out of the grantees. So definitely take a look at that. Do know that since this is a very new, the ELD would be providing resources, technical assistance, and then we will have the templates and provide the templates to the programs to help with program expectation deliverables. And so do know that we're all in the works of this, and you know, definitely take a look at the equity fund. So yeah, that's a little bit about the equity fund and what's available out there for you all.
Thank you. So I'm going to take a pause really quick before we move into the fiscal agent and just check the chat box. Let me see here. See if I can get this a little bit bigger so I can read here. And we got Angie's question, is that right? So Christina asked, my understanding is that Preschool Promise lots and OPK funds are given through a subsidy payment. Is there an indirect cost or administrative cap on those subsidy payments? Dana, do you want to answer that? I know how to answer it for OPK. Sorry about that. I meant to click into your video.
You can go with OPK first, and then I can tackle Preschool Promise.
So the plan is to honor your indirect costs that you have already established with the federal government. So in the grant agreement, we would find out what that indirect cost is that you have already negotiated with your federal grant, and we will honor that.
Alrighty. And for Preschool Promise,
Oh no, Dana, you cut out. Is that just me? Oh, okay, so Dana's laptop just died. She will hop back on in just a second, and I will take a look one more time. Is there any other questions? Yes, we can. Indirect cost agreement, how does that fit into the budget outlined in the application? So I would say that's a good question. We generally, with our OPK grants that are not tribal, there's a 15% indirect. So I think in your application, you would write in your narrative. So the other thing that's not in the application, the current OPK application, are startup costs. And those startup costs, we do have funding for those startup costs, but because we don't know exactly what folks are requesting, we would like you to put that into your narrative. So I think it would be, Angie, the best way, if it's other for tribal nations who are applying, please put that in your verbal, the description of sorry, I'm losing all of my words here. Put it in your description of how you're going to use the funds, and in that same description, write what startup costs you may need, including full classroom setups, or we have money that is directly allocated towards classroom setups, and then another one that is towards like facilities, renovations, small things like adding toilets that would be child size, supporting, building a fence on the playground, those sort of things. So that's what I would say would be the best way to alert us to your indirect cost. Just put it in your description. All of that in the grant agreement.
Sorry, Dana's here. Had a little technical difficulty here. Okay, so going back, do you want me to tackle that question, Lindsay?
Yes, please. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, with Preschool Promise, it's a little bit different because we're more on about cost per child. So what we are saying, I'll just make it really, we are making a change from like our previous implementation. It was like a built-in budget, and it just caused a lot of opportunities with providers. So what we're doing here is that you ask for 10 slots. It's $12,000 per slot. You're going to get $120,000, and then you provide us with an allocation. So as far as like we have, on page 9 of the RFA, it provides like different like suggestions on percentages on how you should allocate your funding. But we know that as some of the programs are braiding and blending or blending some of the funding with other entities, they may say like, well, like for example, if you have a classroom of 20 and there's only 10 Preschool Promise, so then you can go ahead and allocate like your wages, like 50% of the wages to that, right? And some of there is an administration cost. You know, we know that a lot of our entities have like an administrator, which is like a 12%, just kind of giving that guidance. But we've received some calls that are like, hey, administrators, we're doing a lot more. So can we go ahead and get a little bit more on that? So it's really like with this next budget, as you're submitting your budget template, it's just saying, how are you going to allocate the funding to go ahead and, you know, ensure that you offer a high quality program. So it's an allocation type of funding. The last question on the application, it does talk about like blending funds, if you're going to be blending some funds with other programs. So you don't necessarily have to show that in your budget. You just explain that and saying, well, we're going to have 10 kiddos that are going to be privately funded, and we're estimating we're going to have this amount, and so on. So that's kind of how Preschool Promise works in that, as far as like the funding and the budget and that. We are going to have some startup available with Preschool Promise because we are a mixed delivery model, and we're going to have different providers at different stages. We're going to have brand new providers that is just a empty classroom. They don't have anything, right? So we know that we need to go ahead and provide the full classroom setup at that point. We're going to have programs that are just coming in. They may already have some equipment, but they're going to go ahead and need some equipment for like quality and ensuring that that they meet quality in the classroom. So they're going to need a different type of level of funding for startup. And then we also have our current Preschool Promise providers that, it's been 4 years since we started the program. They may need some additional funding too. So we're looking to go ahead and provide that. So we haven't like finalized the exact numbers, but that's how we're looking at. We have some startup funds to support us with this next implementation. So there you go. Awesome. Do we move into the fiscal agent, or do you?
Here we are. There you go, Dana.
Already. So fiscal agent. So we do have an RFA open right now for what we call a fiscal agent. And this is really designed, we're looking for entities that can go ahead and provide like business acumen and support to Preschool Promise providers. We know that some providers may need some support on that business administration type of function, because we know like the hubs are going to help with coordinated enrollment, right, and recruitment. CCRNRs are going to help with that, program quality and coaching and support. And then we're going to go ahead and help with grant administration. But, there's some entities, especially some small entities, that may need a little bit of help on the business acumen and fiscal agent. So that's what we're looking as far as like the fiscal agent for Preschool Promise. So if we want to move to the next slide. So with this one, there's an initial planning grant. It's a $5,000 initial grant that is more to like get ready, get acquainted with Preschool Promise, with the reporting. So you have all the tools to go ahead and support Preschool Promise providers. And then the next phase of the grant is that we're giving providers a choice if they need the services of a fiscal agent or not. So on the provider application, it does ask, do you need a fiscal agent? What we heard from providers, some of them is like, I already have my bookkeeper, I don't need the service, or I'm already working with an entity that's providing us with a business acumen. either the small business development centers or a culturally specific organization in their community. So they don't need that, but then some of them do. So it's a choice that's given by providers. If you do select to go ahead and have a fiscal agent, then your cost per child is not the $12,000 per child. Obviously, you have the enhancement on all that. Then you almost pay like a 2% fee of your cost per child, which equals to the $240 per child that will be allocated to this fiscal agent. So we're looking, it's a small grant, but an important grant. And it's just a grant to go ahead and support providers with this. I think when it comes to our tribal partners is that you yourself can apply for a fiscal agent if you want to go ahead and provide those services, or if you know of any entities within your network that would be a good candidate, please let them know. But it's a pretty small planning grant suite, and the expectations, we talk about some of the expectations, helping Preschool Promise providers develop some fiscal reports, ensure that they spend their funds. So it's really just being that coach and support on those business functions of their business. So it's a little bit different, a disclaimer, this is not like before, with the hubs, like helping with coaching and support and all that. This is very specific to business acumen and support, because we're going to have the CCRNRs help with a lot of that coaching and technical assistance in the classroom. And then we're going to have the hubs helping with coordinated enrollment and recruitment and all that. And that's all I have for the fiscal agent.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for our webinar today. All of our grants can be accessed here at this link. We will email this out to everyone. But know that if you just go to the Oregon Early Learning Division website, all of the grants are there. You just click on the Student Success Act tab. It's purple in the middle of the page. So it's very easy to find. Do we have anything else in the chat box? All right. Angie, I see that question and I will get back to you as soon as I close this meeting. So thank you, everyone. I'm so happy that you were all able to attend. Please feel free to email any of us. We'll also email our contact information along with this webinar. And if you are moving through the grant and for any reason you have any question, no question is too small, please call us. We are happy to answer questions. If Dana's not available, I can answer some Preschool Promise questions and she can answer OPK questions, and we can all help Kimberly with the Equity Fund questions. So just reach out to one of us and we'll make sure that we get you connected to the answer that is best for your question. So thank you all so much. Yeah.
Angie, I have questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a couple questions that other tribes might have as well. If I'm looking at section 2, number 4 of the OPK application, how should tribes answer the question related to the hub's priority populations?
That is a good question, and I feel like I might have OPK RFA pulled up on my thing. We can look at it together really fast if you like. Oh man, no, I didn't. I don't. So that is a really good question, and I think I need to.
Want me to read it to you?
Yeah, will you read it to me? You're all going to be watching me fumble around. I guess I could pause my screen here and you can just see our faces. Yeah, will you read it to me really fast, Angie, please?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I think it changed. I'm like, I have Preschool Promise and OPK both up at the same time. So
I imagine a lot of people are trying to do that. I can get to it really fast here. Hold on a second.
For some reason, I'm skipping from section 1. Oh, there we go. So it's not, but it's looking at the wrong number. It's not section 2 because that's just contact information.
Okay, section 3, program design, approach, and service delivery.
Yeah, it's probably in there.
Okay, let's see.
Darn it, I should have just stayed right where I was.
Oh, that's okay. We don't mind looking at it.
Is
So, you know what? Where I found it actually was in the scoring rubric where it shows how many points you get for each question. I found it in there.
Yeah, Lindsay, I don't know if this is the question. It says, describe how the new approach and delivery model aligns with your community needs, your current wait list, and the ECA sector plans that are connected to your current and proposed
Okay.
service delivery. Is
Yeah.
that it?
Yes.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, it's in Preschool Promise, not OPK. Sorry.
right. Well, and
Yes,
it is in there for OPK, and really that's just your community assessment that you're already doing for your federal grant. You are doing that, right?
yes.
Yeah, so it's just your community assessment, and if tribal nations were not included in the early childhood sector plan, then that wouldn't apply.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, and then my next question is about participation in Spark. So I was licensed, so I was a 5-star facility, but I've chosen to no longer be state licensed. So I thought I heard that there was going to be a route for programs that are not licensed, like in school districts and like tribes, you still get a Spark rating. Is that accurate?
Yes, I
Yes.
believe so. And Spark is in transition at the moment, and so those things are also in transition, but you're correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
no, Spark should still help you if you're not licensed to be able to do that. So yeah.
Yes.
Okay, super. And then my last question is it acceptable can tribes place a priority or a preference for enrolling tribal members into their slots, or does it have to be general for community members?
No, I think you can place, I don't think we have a specific decision point on that right now, but I think that you can place priority for your population. I think tribal
Okay.
folks are considered a priority population, and you can consider them first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just to, because with Preschool Promise, it's always, we always say, Preschool Promise. So with Preschool Promise, it's the same thing. And another question that has come up is we know that a lot of in this next year, there's going to be a lot of conversion that a lot of our Preschool Promise providers are going to do. So they're applying and they're like, I know that there's 5 families, they selected me, we've had them since they were babies, the kiddos were babies, can they continue on? And we've said that, yes, they can be given priority as well. So priority on current families, and then priorities on like tribal members as well.
Okay. And the application is due on May 4th.
May 4th. And May 4th by 5 p.m., not 5:01 or 5:05. If it doesn't get there before 5 p.m., it will not be accepted. Super important for people to know.
Okay, thank you.
Know that we will be on our phones ready to help with questions until 4:59 p.m. on May 4th.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any other questions? Thank you, Angie. I appreciate that.
Sure thing. Thank you both. All 3 of you, I'm sorry.
Thanks, everybody. If there are no more questions, I am going to close the meeting.
Thank you all. Have a good afternoon. Bye.
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 Thank you, everyone. Mark.